Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the No Regrets Project in our health and wellness speaking series, where we have local community members who have the best interest in your mind for mindset and health and wellness. And we have our guest speaker today, Giles, who is the owner of Total Rejuvenation. Josh is born and bred here in Cedar Rapids, and he is also a graduate of the University of Iowa's Tippie College of Business. I'm proud to say that he's our guest speaker today, and he's going to talk to us about today how his company, Total Rejuvenation, can help you with your wellness as well as your mindset. So Josh, welcome. Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Excellent. Why don't you give the crowd, the team, a little bit of background about yourself, and then a little bit of how you got involved in this business, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, born and raised here at Cedar Rapids, well, Robbins, but pretty much Cedar Rapids. Went to Xavier High School and then went to the University of Iowa. Like you said, I got my finance and entrepreneurial management degree from the university. I always knew I wanted to own a business, but I didn't know exactly what kind of business. And I was just kind of, going through college, still trying to figure that out. Then I heard a podcast, a Joe Rogan podcast. It was actually an older podcast, but I think it was actually originally aired in like 2009 or 10 or something, but I heard it probably in 2014 or 15 about the benefits of floating, and that he has one in his house and he uses it like every day and just all the different benefits. So that got me really interested, piqued my interest. So I started researching it more, and I was like, finally, like, all right, I gotta go try this. So I drove to Des Moines, dragged both my parents along with me because I had been talking to them about it for a long time. They were a little more skeptical than I was, but we went to Des Moines because they had a 3-tank center there where it was the closest one where we could all float at the same time. So we all floated. We did 90-minute floats for our first floats, and I got out more jazzed than ever about it. Really, I was hooked after day one. And both my parents were as well. So we started talking more about the possibility of myself bringing one to Cedar Rapids. And then I just started learning more about, as I was doing more research about this, I found just more information about the cryotherapy, the benefits of the sauna, the halotherapy, and all this other stuff that I brought together all into one, just so where I could help benefit the most amount of people in the most different ways all in one spot. So fast forward a couple of years, and after graduating, and now here we are.
That's awesome. Nothing like pursuing your dream, right? So that's just an incredible story to share with us. Thanks for that story, and I'm sure that I'm inspired just by hearing that. So that just pursuing your dreams, anything can happen. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Absolutely. So that's a good segment to our first question with each other. Can you describe kind of the services that Total Rejuvenation offers at your center? I know there's quite a few different items. I partake in some of them myself, and I know some others in the project team does as well, but love to hear about all the services you guys offer at your location.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have about 5. We have flotation therapy, cryotherapy, halotherapy, an infrared sauna, and then Normatec compression sleeves. I can go into each of them a little bit, but I think we probably want to focus maybe just on 1 or 2. And then I also have a massage therapist who rents a room from me. So that just benefits people in so many more ways, just having a massage therapist right here, which is awesome. But so just a little bit, the flotation therapy, also referred to as float tanks, float pods, rest therapy, sensory deprivation tanks is what some old school people might refer to them as, but the industry's kind of moved away from that name. But what it really does is just reduce all your stimuli. It's light proof, soundproof, water's 94.5 degrees, temperature of your skin. So you kind of after a while, you lose track of where your body ends. Just allows, by reducing all your senses, allows your brain to get into the theta brainwaves, which is what you aim for when you meditate, or it's also what you're in when you dream at night or right before you fall asleep, that state. So it's just super relaxing. I forgot to mention there's between 1,200 and 1,600 pounds of Epsom salt dissolved in the water. So you float completely effortlessly. Like you've seen videos of the Dead Sea. Well, this is more dense than the Dead Sea. So you just float like I said, completely effortlessly. It's super relaxing. It has all sorts of benefits. I could talk about it for hours, but I'll try to move on. The halotherapy, also known as dry salt therapy, salt rooms, salt caves, etc. The therapy itself dates back to like the 11th century. Eastern European monks would bring people down into the salt mines to actually help with respiratory and skin ailments. Fast forward to today, since we don't all want to be able, we would all love to, I'm sure, but we don't have the option to go to Eastern Europe if we have a skin ailment or a respiratory ailment that we need to be fixed. Now we have the salt rooms, which uses a generator to crush Himalayan or pharmaceutical grade salt into an aerosol and vent it into the room. So there's just tiny particles of salt you can't even see in the air, all throughout the air. You breathe them in, it gets on your skin. Salt's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, so it can help with all sorts of different ailments. And then the Normatec compression sleeves, a lot of athletes are really liking using these. It's a big sleeve. You know, we have some that go cover your entire arms, your entire legs, or there's a trunk one, torso one. But it just compresses with a little air compressor. It starts at like your foot and it will work its way up. It really just helps with circulation and inflammation. So like I said, a lot of athletes, runners, people like that really enjoy them. And then the two that I think I'm gonna focus on most today are the infrared sauna and the cryotherapy. The cryotherapy is a cold therapy. Exposes your body to extremely low temperatures. Our machine can get down to as low as negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit, which sends your body into survival mode. And we can go into some of the more benefits of that later. But again, athletes, but also just the average Joe, like whether it's just a hard workout or yard work or just even arthritis pain. That's what it was originally invented for, actually, is our rheumatoid arthritis pain. Still used for that today, and just inflammation, stuff like that. And then the infrared sauna, a lot of benefits with that too. The one I think we'd want to focus on today is the detox, because I know a lot of you are involved with a detox right now, and just how that can, the infrared, how it varies from a standard sauna is the infrared waves actually allow it to penetrate your core, raise your core temperature, almost like it gives you an artificial fever. So you can sweat from within instead of just from the outside. So that's kind of a little overview of everything we have.
No, that sounds awesome. It sounds like you guys have some great services to provide to the community, and sounds like we're going to focus on the last two you mentioned, which is the cryotherapy and then also the infrared sauna. So that's the ones I would assume you're recommending for services for these people that are going for our 30-day detox right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think these would be the two that best complement what you guys are trying to accomplish right now. Nothing against any of the other therapies, and I'd love for you guys to try them all, but I think those two would be the most beneficial for you all to focus on right now.
Great. Why don't you give some tips in terms of the listeners of why do you feel these two are the best for the people that are going through the detox system right now?
Absolutely. So the cryotherapy, why I think that is best is it can help loosen up toxins in your body so you can end up flushing them out. So by going to those low temperatures to as low as negative 321, but really the sweet spot, the cryo zone, if you will, is negative 166. So once we get below negative 166 degrees Fahrenheit, your body will go into survival mode. And when it goes into survival mode, it's because the outermost layer of your skin has been cooled. But since the cryotherapy is a maximum of 3 minutes long, you won't, it doesn't penetrate below the first layer of your skin. But even by just cooling that outer layer of your skin, your body goes into survival mode. It strips 80% of the red blood cells from your muscle tissue, joint tissue, skin tissue, and brings them back to your core to keep your vital organs warm. By bringing all that blood back to your core, your blood goes through your cardiovascular system many more times than it normally would. Every time your blood goes through the cardiovascular system, it's stripped of toxins, and then it's enriched with more enzymes, nutrients, and oxygen. So it does that several times throughout the session. And then once you step out of so that's called vasoconstriction when it brings all your blood in. Then when you step out of the cryo chamber after the 3 minutes is up, your blood goes into vasodilation, where it's all the blood, all that enriched blood shoots to the rest of your body to help your muscles, joints, etc., all recover quicker. And so by doing that, when it releases all those toxins, and then we make sure to tell people that you need to drink a lot of water after the rest of the day, even the following day, because it's loosened up all those toxins, and you need to go ahead and get them flushed out of your body so they don't find somewhere else to sit.
Wow. So before we go into the second service that you're recommending, it sounds like cryotherapy is extremely cold. I mean, what kind of advice can you offer to the listeners? Because I think there's different options of going extreme cold, and then there's a mixture of, I think, warmth and cold, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so we have one of the few, the model we have, which I think you can actually see here.
Yep, we see the person behind it. Well, I should say that figure.
In the back corner. So that's the brand new model that just came out this past January. They can actually do heat as well as cold. So if you're a little nervous about it, we have a cycle that goes heat, cold, so it can break up the 3 minutes of cold into two different sessions, or two different cycles, I guess. But then, some of the programs will start with heat, because that just really gets your blood flowing, gets you loosened up, so it can, when the cold comes, your blood can move back to your core easier. But yeah, then there's also a start level, which is just 2.5 minutes instead of the full 3 at a lower temperature. So we can really tailor it to the person. Then the other thing I would say is these numbers might sound really scary, but all of our reference points are like to a wet cold, whether it be an ice bath or the rain or the snow or the wet cold here in the Iowa winters, where this is a completely dry cold. You don't get wet at all during the session. And by staying dry, it doesn't feel near as cold as people expect. Just like the wet heat, the wet humid heat is a lot worse than the dry, like Arizona heat. It's the same thing with cold. And pretty much everybody says like, oh, 3 minutes is up already. Like that didn't get near as cold as I was expecting. So I don't want to scare anybody away, because it sounds really cold, and it is cold, but it's not like a cold to your bone, painful pins and needle cold. Good
advice. Good tips there. I appreciate that. So let's go into the second service, which is dear to my heart, which is something I've been doing at your location, the sauna. Which we go into a little more details about the sauna and some of the benefits and how that benefits people going for a detox program like ours.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like most people know, sweating is really good for your body. It's healthy, it's a way to release toxins. The way that the infrared sauna that we have is different than like a regular sauna or just being outside, is that, again, it's a dry heat instead of a wet heat. Like where if you go to the Y, you dump the water on the rocks, it gets really hot, but it's a wet heat, and that can only really penetrate, that only heats up the outside like layer of your body, and you'll sweat from the outside. And that's like about 98% water. And then a large percent of that, 2 to 3% that's not water, is just salt. That's just how our body sweats when it's hit with heat from the outside. Where the infrared wavelengths actually penetrate your core. They can penetrate your body into your core, and it raises your core temperature, which pretty much causes an artificial fever. By doing that and raising your core temperature, when your body sweats from the core, it's a lot more high quality of a sweat. When you sweat from that way, it's more like 80% water and then 20% toxins and salt. But when it comes from that 80%, or that other 20%, is more, the non-water portion is more cholesterol, fat-soluble toxins, toxic heavy metals, sulfuric acid, sodium, ammonium, uric acid, all of that stuff that we really don't want in our body. We're able to sweat that out when we are heated up from the core.
Excellent. Yeah, I think I tell you, I've been doing 2 sessions so far with the infrared compared to normal sauna, and definitely feel the difference and the benefits of it. So I totally agree with what you're saying. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that information.
Yeah.
So those 2 therapies you just mentioned. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But just one thing I was going to mention is, for if some people come do try it, is that when when you're first, and I think maybe talk to you about this after your first one. After your first one, you might not sweat as much as you're
Right.
expecting, because it won't like, especially after your first one, it won't feel like you just got out of a normal sauna. It takes your body a little getting used to being, having those sort of waves penetrate to your core. So the first one, like you'll definitely feel hot, but you might not sweat very much. And then the second one, you'll start sweating quite a bit. And then like when you get to the third, fourth, fifth, you really start to sweat. I'm probably close to my 15th session now. And I do the same program most of the time. Well, I've been doing the weight loss program because my sauna has like, it actually has near, medium, and far infrared waves, so it can actually penetrate your body in different ways based on what you're going for. So some of the different programs with our sauna has is a cardiovascular, a skin, one for your skin. There's a weight loss, there's a recovery, there's a relaxation. So there's just a handful of different things. I was in a weight loss challenge, so I've been using the weight loss one. Like after my first one, I sweat a little bit, but not a ton. And now, like I said, I'm probably on close to my 15th, and I come out of there, same temperature, same program, same length of time, and I'm just dripping in sweat. So it really does. I was a little skeptical at first, not gonna lie, about you'll start sweating more as you do it, but it's the truth.
No, that's very true because like you said, my first session I was hot but not sweating, and then the second one I was dripping a little bit more, and by my third one I was like drenched, and I'm a sweater, so I definitely felt the difference between the two sessions. So that's a great tip to get to the listeners. So, quick question around that: can you actually do both therapies at the same time, same day, or do you recommend only one per day, or what's your advice there?
Yeah, so you can do both on the same day. I would suggest, if you've never done either one before, that on your first day here, we would just do one, and then the next time you could do the other one. That way you just can see where the benefits. That way if you like feel great the next day, you know where it came from. You know whether it was the cryo, whether it was the sauna. But then like after you've done both of them individually, then you can definitely do them on the same day. I've had people do them on the same day and really enjoy it. We would do the cryotherapy first, because you need to be completely dry. You can't have like sweat or anything on your body, because that would run the risk of getting frostbite or burning you. But when you're dry, there's not a worry about that at all. So that's why we just run the cryo first, and then we'd probably just have you sit and drink a glass of water or two for like 10, 15 minutes, just to let your body kind of readjust to the normal temperature, and then you can go ahead and get in the sauna.
Excellent. In regards to workouts, there's a lot of people that are following our program, they're doing the 30-day cleanse, but they're also actively working out to kind of complement the 30 days. So what's your recommendation in terms of workouts? Do you recommend doing this therapy before, after, combination of both? What's your thoughts on that?
It kind of depends again on the person, their preferences. The sauna I would definitely do after, help loosen you up. You could maybe even do some stretching either in there if you have enough room, or afterwards to help loosen up your muscles, really just relax you. The cryo, like all the studies you see and all of that, and what most people use cryo for and how they talk about it would be for afterwards. And I mean, that's usually how I use it as well, because it will just help you recover. It'll speed up your recovery time. You won't be as sore the following days because of that cleansed blood, getting that cleansed blood, and helps you recover quicker. But then on the flip side of that, you can do it before your workout. And I've had several people do that and say, I can work out longer, harder, heavier. And they ask if that makes sense, if they were just like making that up in their mind, or if that would actually, if I actually saw any reasoning behind that. And I actually do, because with that enriched blood and that more oxygen in your blood, your muscles aren't going to get tired as quickly. So if you do it beforehand, you'll be able to work out longer and harder. That does make sense to why that would happen. But then on back to the flip side of that, if you work out harder and longer, you're going to actually be more sore instead of less sore. So it kind of just depends if you're looking for a faster recovery or if you want to work out harder. You can do up to 2 cryo sessions in a day. So I have had some people, who will come, do cryo, then they'll work out, and then they'll like go home, shower, dry off and everything, and then come back and do another cryo session. I haven't done it so much with the workout, but I messed my neck up working out just a week or two ago, and I did the cryo because I was in some pain to loosen up, and then I went to my chiropractor, and he adjusted me, and he knows what I'm doing. He says, well, if I were you, he says, with how hard I had to move your neck and your back, he goes, there would probably be some inflammation coming in. So if I were you, I'd head right back there and do the cryo again. So I actually did that the rest of the day and the next day. And from there on, I actually felt great. Like that was usually an injury that I've actually had that same exact injury before. And it took me like a week and a half, 2 weeks of going to the chiropractor, like starting every day and then getting to every other day and so forth, to be able to recover, where this time I was able to do it just in that 1 to 2 day recovery period.
Wow, that's remarkable. And that's good to know, because that's definitely the next service I'd like to try is the cryo for sure. Because obviously the benefits you described, but also what I've heard from friends that have actually tried it and said they've definitely seen some great benefits from it. So awesome stuff. So before we conclude our interview here, Josh, I'd like to ask you if you have any promotional offers for anybody that's doing the No Regrets Project, and then what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you call in, stop in, or just even on our website, you can, when you get to your checkout, if you have a single session in your cart of any of them, whether it be the cryo, the float, the halo, the sauna, any of that, and then you type in the coupon code No Regrets, no spaces, just No Regrets, one word, no caps, you'll get 50% off your service.
Wow.
So yeah, just get in here. We'll help with the detox, help you recover, and you can see what all the hype is about.
And that's an incredible promotion. So thanks for that, Josh. We really appreciate that. And I think our listeners are going to love that too. 50% off, guys. You can't beat that if you ask me. So definitely get on his website. You want to share your website, ask you, Josh, and we'll post that also when we post the video. But
yeah, absolutely.
On the video, please.
www.crtotalrejuvenation.com. So like CR, Cedar Rapids, totalrejuvenation.com. We're on Facebook, same thing, CR Total Rejuvenation. Phone number 319-393-8400. And then we're located at 1501 51st Street Northeast, Suite B, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 52402. It's the old Select Auto building, backs up to Collins Road.
Excellent. Well, Josh, this was a pleasure, talking with you about these services. I know I've benefited from them, and I think our 30-day programmers will be as well. So we appreciate your time this afternoon. Is there any parting words you'd like to say? Maybe your slogan that you have in the back of your shirts, which are pretty cool.
Yeah, so we have a couple different slogans. Well, our main tagline is therapy is for your mind, body, and soul. But then we have a couple T-shirts. Well, we have the Be Salty. We have the coolest place in town. Get that double entendre in there. And I have the Be Salty one on right now. But our last one is Go Float Yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. Those are great parting words. I love it. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me, Ara.
No, thanks for having us, Josh. You have a good day now.
You too.
Bye.